What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the trading world. Today is August 5th, 2025. It is very late, and I don't have a ton of time to film this since I gotta go to bed, but I still wanted to make this for you guys. It's important for me to make these every single day. Now, if you guys are new to my channel, I cover the market every single day. The NASDAQ futures market, covering real trades that you can take that can make you real money. If you guys like this type of content, definitely consider subscribing, leaving a like, following me on Twitter, and checking out my completely free Discord. The link to that is in my bio. So let's go ahead and talk about the market today. So hopefully this video doesn't take too long because I really do got to get to bed probably. But so on the higher time frame, right, we just talked about how we took these low resistance lows here and we got a reaction off of it. And yesterday I said how we rebalanced this entire range back up into premium of that range. And so today we're within premium of this range, and we actually are within essentially a giant 4-hour BPR. So one, this is a 4-hour for value gap right here. See right there. See how we respond? We're very sensitive to that gap. But also, I would consider this a BPR because you have this overlapping one on the other side. So this is a 4-hour for value gap, bearish for value gap. It's also a bullish for value gap. And you can actually draw it out like this to include the volume imbalance. So you can see how this 4-hour for value gap is perfectly in premium. So there you go. There's that 4-hour for value gap. And as well, note what else here. What else do we have? I'm going to go zoom out to the daily chart real quick. This is going to take 1 second. What else do you see? It's really obvious, right? It's a volume imbalance. Technically, right, since it's on the daily chart, any volume imbalance, so once again, a volume imbalance is when you have candle bodies disconnected and their wicks are overlapping. And if their wicks aren't overlapping, then that's a liquidity void. But when their wicks are overlapping, that's a volume imbalance. And so essentially, since this is on the daily chart, this volume imbalance isn't just a volume imbalance, it's a new day opening gap. So that's the cool thing about new day opening gaps is you can visually see them on your chart. Sometimes they're very obvious, right? So I'm going to bring all that old stuff back. Let's go back to the daily chart. So you can see, right, 4-hour for value gap and new day opening gap overlapped with each other in premium of this aggressive price leg lower that actually breaks the swing low. So now, dropping down to the lower time frame, we end up, so in the morning, I'm actually thinking, okay, we could get a reaction off of this area because this is really high confluence for shorts. We have this new day opening gap. We have this 4-hour for value gap in premium. And that's also a BPR. And something you may remember that I've talked about before, I talked about it today, is when you have an aggressive displacement move lower and then a move to rebalance that back into premium, this price leg from here to here, right? Let's say this is a higher time frame downtrend where let's say we don't know what's going to happen obviously, but let's say that this was the first leg down before the more aggressive leg down. Well, okay, you could hold it for all the way down here, but that would be, you don't need to do that. All you need to do is get a tiny piece of the pie. And so Trader Kane talks about this where you have one giant move down and a move that rebalances that leg. This move down back from premium of the initial leg to discount of the second leg, this move lower is going to be super high probability. Kane talks about this. I can't remember what video it is, but go watch that video. I think it's like no, you're just gonna have to look it up. But he says basically like when we go from premium of the initial leg back to discount of that move that rebalanced the premium, this is going to be a really, really high probability move. This from here to here. So how could we take this as a trade? Well, the way I would take this, right? Let's drop down. I would look for a 15-minute change state delivery. And we actually end up getting that in a couple different places. We end up getting that. Let's actually redraw the premium discount because I think it's kind of cool to have and see how the market is perfectly positioned in premium here. So we end up getting 15-minute change state delivery here. Actually, this first one actually fails, but then I wouldn't even take this one though because I want to see an obvious one personally, right? And the most obvious one that I like the most happens right here, and I actually called this out on stream. This is what I mean when I say you don't just want to take whatever change state delivery. You want it to either make sense, it's ready to go around liquidity, or make sense for you to have good enough RR to take the trade. And if it's not good enough, you don't need to take it. That's the way I see these change state delivery trades. Is if they don't make sense, don't try and force it if it's not there. So like, that's just something you're gonna find through screen time. But anyway, 4-hour BPR, and then we have our aligned time frame. Once again, this is in premium, and then we have our aligned time frame change state delivery, which is a 15-minute change state delivery. Once again, change state delivery is when you get a candle body close below a down close candle on below an old down close candle. So a red down close candle close below an old red down close candle. That's change state delivery. And so if I entered on the close here, which I would, because of this good momentum, then I put stop here. And I actually talked about this on stream, right? This ends up going to 2R, and it actually keeps going, right? We go for 3R and then 4R. So I think this was a really, really nice trade. You could measure out standard deviations of this whole thing. And you'll note as well that this was accumulation. So this is a giant accumulation range here. So accumulation, manipulation of this high, and then distribution lower. You see how this is AMD? So anyway, I'm gonna go over the trade I took, which was actually pretty nice. I liked it a lot, and I would take it again. I don't think I think I did it perfectly fine, to be honest. It hit 2R and then I got trailed out the rest, but I'll show that trade right now. So that trade, it was essentially, if I show my other screen real quick, what I was looking at going into the morning is we swept out London highs with S&T. This was the first thing I saw going into the morning. You can actually go rewatch that live stream, and I actually get really excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a million light bulbs going off in my head. Because what is this? This is a giant accumulation range. Then we have S&T with London highs. So I'm just gonna pull up screenshots of this so I don't have to pull it up. First thing I want to say about this is it's kind of cool because did I not save the screenshot? I actually don't know where the screenshot is. Okay, never mind. But what I was gonna say is, first things first, right? Something that can be nice for bias is when you take out one side or one session low, a lot of time we'll target the opposing session liquidity pool. So when we take out Asia's lows, now we're going to target London highs. When we take out London highs, now we're going to target London lows. So that's really nice to use for bias, right? Then anyway, you can see we have S&T here after sweeping out London highs. And what I did was I took this 15-minute wick, which is a key level. This is a 15-minute rejection block. And this is, if you guys don't remember, this is the Phoenix model where you have a rejection block. This is the same model Powell trades, where you have a rejection block and then one asset sweeps the high into the rejection block, and then the other asset ends up respecting the rejection block. And so the way Powell trades would take this is he would take this trade on the S&P, entering on the wick of the rejection block, and you can see how this is just super crazy RR. Powell trades just absolutely kills it with these trades. Definitely go check out Powell trades if you want more info on kind of how he does this. But the reason this is a nice rejection block. Why is this a nice rejection block? Because look at this. Look at how we sweep this high. Look at how obvious we sweep liquidity with this rejection block. Anytime a rejection block sweeps liquidity, it's going to be a nice rejection block. So this wick is really, really high probability. And it's, yeah, anyway. And then we get SMT with London highs. And then, yeah, so if you took this as a Phoenix model, let's see if I have this in here. Yeah, here it is, right? If you took this as a Phoenix model, I mean, that's just insane RR. All you would have to do is enter on the rejection block with that swept liquidity and, you know, have it be obvious that SMT is forming, and you're going to top tick this thing. Genuinely insane. Genuinely insane. That's the way Powell trades. And then if you wanted to, you could even be more aggressive in this scenario, and you could enter on the midpoint of the rejection block. That's called consequent encroachment. It just gets crazier, guys. That's double the RR right there. That is insane. That is genuinely insane. And so I call this one Phoenix Model Mini because, you know, half the stop loss. It's like a mini version of it. But, you know, same, you get what I'm saying, right? Enter at the midpoint of that wick with SMT, and then we dump down lower. Then, and then this was really nice, right? After we sweep out London highs, we end up getting break of structure on the 3-minute. A retest of this 2022 fair value gap that goes above 830 and above midnight, and we go perfectly to that fourth standard deviation. This was beautiful. We end up inducing this high. Actually, this is kind of cool. I have a live clip of me saying, like, there's a good chance we're going to go back up into that change state delivery and then re-induce that high. So you can see I said that here. Let's watch this actually real quick. What I think will happen now is we'll induce this high into the change state delivery, and then we'll go lower. And so you guys see how that's exactly what happened, right? We have these low resistance highs. We had that 15-minute rejection block, 1-minute change state delivery. By the way, that's where I entered for my trade, was off of that 1-minute change state delivery. So TP1 got hit, TP2 got hit, and I got stopped out the rest. So you see how I just took this as a regular flow state model where we have a key level, a 15-minute rejection block with SMT, and then entered on the 1-minute change state delivery. TP1 got hit, TP2 got hit, I got stopped out the rest. But then what I was saying after I got stopped out is I said, we're probably going to come back up into the change state delivery, induce this high, and then continue lower anyways. I said that on stream, and guys, look at this. This is exactly what happened. And the craziest part about all of this is from the high to the change state delivery, measure out that move from the high to the change state delivery, OTE. That's your sniper entry. That's the model I made up, the sniper model, the sniper flow state OTE model. So basically enter at OTE from the change state delivery to the high. That leg from the change state delivery to the high, measure it, find OTE, it's going to be a sniper entry. And bang! It's just crazy, guys. It's crazy how perfect the market is. And then, you know what gets even crazier is, you know how I said this was a 3-minute 2022 for value gap? Well, I was doing some digging and I was just thinking about it. I was actually just thinking about it, right? If the 5-minute aligns with the 30-second and the 1-minute aligns with the 5-second, which is what I've seen through my backtesting, then the 3-minute should align with like the 15-second. So I did some digging, right? From my backtesting, that's what it looks like. 3-minute aligns with the 15-second. So once again, what was this? A 3-minute 2022 fair value gap within premium of this move that breaks structure, right? So we come back up. This is when we induce the high. We come back up into this fair value gap in premium. So now let's look for a 15-second change of state delivery, right? This gets crazy, guys. This is insane. What happened at 10 a.m. today? We had ISM Services PMI. Check this out, man. So here's our 2022 model. Liquidity sweep. Break of structure. So we hit that fair value gap one time. We deliver lower a little bit. But then like I said we might need to go reinduce that high. And then what happens? We end up going up to reinduce that high. So since this is a 3-minute 2022 model, you can align it with the 15-second. I call this the 2022 plus because you're basically getting a sniper entry within an already really good model, right? But you're basically taking a flow state off of you're taking the flow state model off of the 2022 model, right? And if I zoom in here, right? What is this? 15-second change state delivery happens here. First, we backtest OTE from the high to the body. We hit OTE, then we come lower. We hit the change state delivery perfectly at guess what time? 10 a.m. Right. When ISM Services PMI comes out. Do I even have to say anything else, man? This is crazy, right? This is the exact point you would enter this perfect higher time frame trade. And so with that, I'm going to leave it with this tweet that I just posted, which is this was actually a long time ago, but news doesn't move price. Price moves where it's meant to. Only then is news seen by the public as the explained justification for what was already in motion. It's not random. It's perfectly designed precision disguised as chaos. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.